10 minutes a day helps keep the motorcycle accidents away. If you haven't seen the first video, it's got the table of contents on this DMV Audio Handbook Motorcycle Edition. Go and see video 1. You may want to skip certain pages or just listen to the whole thing to become a professional motorcycle driver. Page 12. If you use an unfamiliar motorcycle, make all the safety and maintenance checks you would on your own motorcycle. Find out where everything is located, particularly the turn signals, horn, headlight, dimmer switch, fuel supply valve, and engine cutoff switch. You should be able to find them without having to look for them. Know the gear pattern. Work the throttle, clutch, and brakes a few times before you start riding. All the controls act a little differently. Ride very cautiously and be aware of your surroundings. Accelerate gently, take turns slowly, and leave extra room for stopping. Check your motorcycle. A motorcycle needs more frequent attention than a car. If something is wrong with a motorcycle, find out about it before you get into traffic or operate the motorcycle at freeway speeds. Make the following checks before every ride. You're going to want to check your tires, fluids, headlights, turn signals, battery, brake light, chain, kickstand, clutch, and mirrors. So you check the tires, check the air pressure, check for wear, and check the tread. For the fluids, check the oil and fluid levels. At a minimum, check hydraulic fluid and coolant weekly. Look under the motorcycle for signs of fluid leaks. And while checking your headlights and taillights, check them both for proper operation and burnt out bulbs. While checking your turn signals, turn on both right and left turn signals. Make sure all front and rear signal lights work properly. And while checking your battery, check the battery condition and electrolyte level. Ensure the terminals are clean and tight and that the battery is fastened securely. Brake light. Try both brake controls and make sure each one turns on the brake light. Now to check your chain or belt. Check the tension, the lubrication, and sprockets. And for your kickstand, check the kickstand for cracks, bent springs, and tension to hold position. Once you are on the motorcycle, complete the following checks before starting out: the clutch and throttle, the mirrors, the brakes, and the horn. While checking the clutch and throttle, make sure they work smoothly. The throttle should snap back when you let go. The clutch should feel tight and smooth. And for your mirrors, clean and adjust the mirrors before starting. Adjust the mirrors so you can see the lane behind you and as much as possible of the lane next to you. When properly adjusted, a mirror may show the edge of your arm or shoulder, but it's the road behind and to the side of you that is most important. Brakes. Try the front and rear brake levers one at a time. Make sure each one feels firm and holds the motorcycle when the brake is fully applied. Horn. Make sure the horn works. In addition to the checks before every trip, check the following items at least once a week. Check your wheels, cables, fasteners, and fluid levels. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Collisions are fairly common among new riders. Riding an unfamiliar motorcycle adds to the problem. Get familiar with any motorcycle new to you, preferably in a controlled area. No matter how experienced you may be, ride extra carefully on any motorcycle new or unfamiliar to you. Remember, more than half of all collisions occur by motorcycle riders with less than 6 months' experience. Know your responsibilities. Accident implies an unforeseen event that occurs without anyone's fault or negligence. Most often in traffic, this is not the case. In fact, most people involved in a collision can usually claim some responsibility for what takes place. Blame does not matter when someone is injured in a collision. There is rarely a single cause of any collision. The ability to be aware, make critical decisions, and carry them out separates responsible riders from all the rest. It is up to you to keep from being the cause of an unprepared participation in any collision. As a motorcycle rider, you cannot be sure that others will see you or yield the right of way. To reduce the chances of a collision, be visible, communicate your intentions, maintain an adequate space cushion, be aware, scan your path of travel, Identify and separate multiple hazards, and be prepared to act. So while being visible, wear bright or reflective clothing. Use your headlight and running lights, if equipped, and ride in the best lane position to see and to be seen. While communicating your intentions, use the proper signals, brake light, and lane position. And how to maintain an adequate space cushion. Allow yourself enough space when following, being followed, lane splitting, passing, and being passed. And to be aware. Monitor vehicle traffic in front and approaching traffic from behind while maintaining an escape route. And to scan your path of travel. Look at least 10 to 15 seconds ahead. Identify and separate multiple hazards. Be prepared to act. Remain alert. Know how to carry out proper collision avoidance techniques. Ride within your abilities. This handbook cannot teach you how to control direction, speed, or balance. You learn this by taking professionally taught motorcycle rider courses, practicing knowing your abilities, and riding with them. Basic vehicle control. Body position. To control a motorcycle, posture. Sit so you can use your arms to control the motorcycle, rather than to hold yourself up. Your seat. Sit far enough forward so your arms are slightly bent when holding the handlebar grips. Bending your arms permits you to press on the handlebars without having to stretch and it reduces arm fatigue. Hands. Hold the finger grips firmly. Start with your right wrist flat so you will not have to accidentally use too much throttle. Also, adjust the handlebars so your hands are even with or below your elbows. This allows you to use the proper muscles for precision steering. Knees. Keep your knees against the gas tank to help with the balance as you turn the motorcycle. Feet. Keep your feet firmly on the footrest for balance. Do not drag your feet. You could lose control of the motorcycle. Keep your feet near the controls. Do not point your toes downward. They may get caught between the road and the footrest. Shifting gears. There is more to shifting gears than simply getting the motorcycle to pick up speed smoothly. Learning to use the gears when downshifting, turning, or starting on hills is important for safe motorcycle operation. Shift down through the gears with the clutch as you slow or stop. Remain in first gear while stopped so you can move out quickly if needed. Ride slowly enough when you shift into a lower gear or the motorcycle will lurch and the rear wheel may skid. When riding downhill or shifting into first gear, you may need to slow to downshift safely. Work toward a smooth, even clutch release, especially when downshifting. It is best to change gears before starting a turn. However, sometimes you may need to shift while in the turn. Remember to shift smoothly because of a sudden change of power to the rear wheel may cause a skid. Braking. Your motorcycle has two brakes, one for the front wheel and one for the rear wheel. When making a normal, non-emergency stop, use both brakes at the same time and downshift. The front brake has more stopping power, providing 3/4 of your total stopping power. The front brake is safe to use when used properly. Remember, use both brakes every time you slow or stop. Using both brakes for normal stops helps you develop the proper habit and skill of using both brakes correctly, which you may need to use in an emergency. Squeeze the front brakes and press down on the rear brake. Grabbing at the front brake or jamming down on the rear brake can cause the brakes to lock and result in control problems. If you know the technique, using both brakes in a turn is possible, although it should be done very carefully. When you lean the motorcycle, some of the traction is used for cornering and less traction is available for stopping. A skid can occur if you apply too much brake pressure. Also, using the front brake incorrectly on a slippery surface may be hazardous. Use caution and gently squeeze the brake lever. Never grab at it. Some motorcycles have integrated braking systems that link the front and rear brakes together when you apply the rear brake pedal. Consult your owner's manual. Turning. Riders often try to take curves or turns too fast. When they cannot hold the turn, they end up crossing into another lane of traffic and going off the road. In some cases, riders overreact and brake too hard, causing a skid and the loss of control. Approach turns and curves with caution. Use 4 steps for better control. Slow, look, press, and roll. Slow, look, press, and roll. Slow. Reduce your speed before you turn by rolling off the throttle. If necessary, applying the brakes. That's how you slow. Now look. Look through the turn where you want to go. Turn only your head, not your shoulders, and keep your eyes level with the horizon. Press. Press to turn. The motorcycle must lean. To lean the motorcycle, press on the handlebar grip in the direction of the turn. Press left, and you go left. Press right, lean right, and you go right. Higher speeds and/or tighter turns require the motorcycle to lean more. Roll. Roll on the throttle through the turn to stable suspension. Maintain steady speed or accelerate gradually through the turn. This will help keep the motorcycle stable. In normal turns, the rider and the motorcycle should lean together at the same angle. In slow, tight turns, the rider should keep his or her body straight and only lean the motorcycle. U-turns. Completing U-turns on a motorcycle requires you to maintain control and balance to maneuver through a tight U-turn. Here are some tips for completing U-turns successfully. You're going to want to look. You're going to want to remember the friction zone, dragging the rear brake, centralized weight. You're going to practice. Okay, for looking, look through the turn where you want to go. Turn only your head, not your shoulders, and keep your eyes level with the horizon. Friction zone. The friction zone is the area of the clutch between completely engaged and completely released. Riding within the friction zone will give you more control through the turn. Dragging the rear brake. Dragging the rear brake is the practice of utilizing the rear brake to control the bike's speed and maintain stability, such as in a U-turn. The front brake should not be used as it could cause the bike to tip over. Centralize weight. A motorcycle will be easier to maneuver when the weight is kept close to the bike. Keep your feet on the footrest and, if necessary, apply weight to the outside footrest to equalize balance. And practice. Practice executing U-turns in an empty open parking lot. Turn with wide U-turns and gradually tighten the turning radius. Also practice U-turns in both directions by riding in a figure 8 pattern until you are comfortable with U-turns in both right and left directions. And remember to keep your distance. The best protection you can have is distance, a cushion of space all around your motorcycle. If someone else makes a mistake, distance gives you time to react and space to maneuver. We've completed page 16. Next video, page 17. Thank you so much, and safe driving on the road.